Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. Hi, guys. I hope all is well. Now, if you've been following along, then you know we just got through nitrogen and we've been struggling to get through those fundamental 4 elements on the periodic table. We are going to be reviewing the periodic table. We went over the first 4 elements. And we're going to respectively go over the rest of the table and do some experiments. The topic of the periodic table isn't something that I believe we can just breeze through. Of course, you don't have to wait for me to study it. As far as the topics are concerned, every now and again we might have, a little course that is taken that is not that of the topic. But right now, although we're going to be talking about the periodic table right now, I just wanted to throw this out there. And I know it's going to sound like some crazy movie stuff, but just follow me. In every reality, there is a version of you. Now, of course, we've talked about different timelines, different dimensions, and even different aspects of you as far as your soul's journey is concerned, meaning it can take the higher route or the lower route. But we haven't really quite touched on there being multiple versions of us and us being able to connect to that alternate personality. Now, what do I mean by that? When you go to sleep, that is another version of yourself. When you are in the spirit world, period, your spirit and personality in the spirit world is that, but it is another aspect or version of you. When y'all look at these movies, y'all need to look at that. Pay attention to the things that are constantly being repeated, the things that are being thrown in your face, and the things that are being highlighted. Being someone who can alternate between realities would make you quite the character, right? So, who you are in your dream state, right? And I was having a conversation with a friend, and he was like, oh, in your dreams, when you look in the mirror, you can never see yourself. And if you can, it's not you. Like who you are right now in your waking life. And it's true. There's a version of you in every state. So when you're asleep, you dream. We all know that our spirit separates from our flesh while we are sleeping. Some people claim to not remember their dreams, right? And maybe that is an aspect of yourself that you have yet to get familiar with. Because we all dream. No matter if you remembering your dream is something totally different from you actually experiencing your dream. Now, of course, we went over the types of dreams, outer body experiences, lucid dreaming, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about you being you in different states or different realities, different versions or different dimensions, right? Different versions of reality. Because your dream world is just as real as your waking life. Now, when you go over to the spirit world, you have a space that you take up in the spirit world as well. And yes, the dream world is the spirit world, but it is the state of the unconscious, right? And the conscious combined, right? The things that are deep down in here that you don't express, the things that you desire, the things you want, the things you know. And if you are spiritually gifted, you may have prophetic dreams that are warnings or that are bridges, right? Helps you connect things and people and places together. Now, when you start paying attention to you in these other dimensions or these other timelines or these different realities, you'll notice that there is a connect. What is the connection? Your brain, your heart, your thought process, your conscious is the one thing that exists as a constant in all of those different realities. Who you are may appear to be different, but on the conscious level, it's the same. So I'll give you an example. Have you ever been in a dream and thought something that is relevant to your waking life, your spirit life, and your dreaming life? Now, there are other timelines and other dimensions. I'm not saying that there are only 3, but these are the 3 that I've knowingly tapped into and have been able to examine and assess. Now, who I am in the 5D, I've gotten to know because that's who has been helping me out in the 3D and in the sleep world. Now, when it comes to portals being open and other timelines, I don't know that person that well, but I do know that the spirit of me on those timelines is the same spirit. In fact, your spirit is stronger in the spirit world. Who you are in the spirit world comes alive way more than it does in your waking life in this 3D, because your spirit is traveling. It's not stationary. We don't have stationary spirits. So that's also something to be mindful of, because you don't want to dredge up something from one world that is relevant here. Your unconscious is one of those things, like I said, that is constant. It will follow you. And it comes alive more in the other realities versus this one. So that's something, you need to be mindful of. Remember, we discussed mindset, mentality, and just overall working on how we think and function. Your subconscious is the first thing you would need to address in order to start changing your mindset and your overall reality. I had a dream, and we discussed the dream, and remember when I had been saying I looked at a few things. I wasn't going to share much, and I'm still not, but this particular portion of the dream, I realized that this is how I think in real life. Like, after I woke up, I'm like, but why am I so aware? Now, remember, we know that lucid dreaming is when you're aware that you're dreaming. And that wasn't even the case. It wasn't even that I was aware that I was in a dream. The thing was that my thoughts in the dream were for my thoughts in the 3D, in waking life. Like, I have been getting, messages from the spirit world. I have been hearing into the spirit world, and I also reviewed some tarot card readings. And then I said, okay, why am I walking around barefoot? So consciously in my mind, I said to myself, oh, they trying to get me sick. Now, this is a thought that I have been dealing with in the 3D, right? So while I am asleep and my conscious mind is not as strong and active, whereas my unconscious mind is overriding everything, why was I still able to have the conscious thought follow me into a state where I'm not using my conscious mind? You understand? So that's what I mean. And of course, that comes with your ability to identify your spirit and be at a particular spiritual level in your sleep and in your waking life. But again, your unconscious is constant, and it is way stronger than the conscious mind. You have to practice on making your conscious mind override your unconscious mind, if that makes sense. That takes practice. Why do you think there is an overall community related to just being conscious? There's a conscious community because your conscious mind is your active mind. It's your flowing mind, and you have to feed that active mind good things in order for it to develop. And your sense of self and a grounded sense of spirituality is one of the ways to consciously keep your conscious mind greased up and activated and, exercised. Because a lot of us don't even realize that you are tapping into multiple consciousness when you become actively conscious and you exercise that. That is you giving your spirit the authority to act in tandem with your conscious mind, even when you are not in a state of consciousness. So when you're asleep, when you're praying, when you're meditating, right? Those are all different levels of you in active spirituality, right? When you go to sleep, it's a different version of who you are when you're sleeping. When you're praying, it's a different version of you when you are actively in your personality, in your life, just chilling out. These are different versions of you, right? And we talked about this, but we never quite talked about the state, your state of who you are in those different realms. And again, when you hear about multiverses and portals and time machines, that is what that is, right? Your ability to connect your spirit to those different timelines. Those are timelines. And some people fight all out wars in their sleep. They are going to the site of the battle. They're on the battleground. And some people are aware and some people are not. The level of awareness is what makes the difference. Your knowing is what makes the difference. Your ability to activate your conscious mind and function fully is what makes the difference. That is how the difference will start to manifest. You being awake and alive and conscious in a moment that calls for your unconscious beta mind, if that makes sense. Okay, and I know I said that in more than one way, but the point that I'm making here is your conscious mind will start to talk to you when you are in other realities, and that's how you know that you are plugged in to the spirit world. Your dreams, your prayer. When you're praying, you're conscious, but your spirit is guiding you on what to pray on, what to say, right? So there's different levels of your understanding, and your understanding is going to determine your state of consciousness. And once you practice that, you'll start to see a lot of changes, okay? But I'm going to end it here. I do love y'all. Start looking out for those other topics off the periodic table. I was supposed to actually post the tutoring schedule. Just email me and call me, okay? I do love y'all.